I'd like to start the meeting, but before we start the meeting, I do want to say and pass, and I think I speak for all of us, recognize the fact that Beth Pellick's father passed away, Teddy Viderber, and great guy, great Walpole family, and I just wanted to acknowledge that, extend our condolences to Paula, Beth, Ellen, Kathy, and Joe, and the multitudes of grandchildren and great-grandchildren and nieces and nephews. Great Walpole family, multi-generation Walpole family, and Teddy's passing is a loss for the town. So I just wanted to send our condolences, and we're thinking of Beth today. Okay, put on my glasses so I can read. Why don't we start with, did everybody get a chance to read the minutes of September 10th?
Yep.
Is that an extra copy?
Yes.
Thanks.
I'm all good with that. I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of September 10th, 2024.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Anyone not here that day?
I was not there.
So you're an
I said-
abstention,
Yeah, but I did read them.
but you don't know if it's true or not,
That's
right?
right.
We could be
You're right.
lying to you.
I did read them.
Okay, Pat, what do you think?
Well, we have a couple of guests today from Destination Downtown. Just to kind of, before we get into this, Sarah had brought up, I think you were looking for contacts for a few different property owners in the downtown.
Yeah.
When I first learned about a project that Destination Downtown is working on with trying to implement murals within the alleyways. And so I thought that was a really cool idea. It's something that I feel like we talked about years ago at a shared streets grant back in 2021. Ended up going in a different direction. We ended up redoing the pathway that's by the Jalapenos building. But again, it's a kind of an interesting concept. It's something that's been put in a few different economic development plans that the town has done in terms of trying to create what's called like placemaking, trying to create a little bit more of a more vibrancy, a little bit more attention to certain areas. I guess the idea, especially, and I'll let Sarah and Rick get to it, but Sarah Katib, Rick Ward, from Destination Downtown. The concept behind it is, trying to create a better connection between the parking lots that are behind, the Jalapenos building and the fire department, and then Main Street itself, and try to have that be a better, feel more safe, more connecting. And so when Sarah brought the concept to me, I think I reached out to you, Danielle, and you, Mark, separately, just to kind of bring the idea forward. But invited them here to maybe talk to the EDC about possibly being kind of working with them on a project.
Sounds great.
So,
Hey, you said on the grant, on the one that runs between Old Town Hall.
yeah,
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
Did a grant pay for that?
yeah, it was back during COVID. They had a grant concept. It was called the Shared Streets and Spaces through Mass Department of Transportation. Really kind of cool grant because you usually don't get money for those types of projects.
Right.
So it was about $23,000 we got to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great program. I wish they still had that. But yeah.
Well, it's good to see outcomes.
Yes.
It's good to see any grant or even any discussion turn into an outcome. And that one worked out very well, so sorry to give you a little speed bump there, but.
Well, I think that's a great statement, because when we talk about discussions and action items, and this is something that, I think just today I realized, moved back in 2021 again. We worked on our rapid recovery plan, which was also, it was based on economic recovery from COVID, but a lot of the action items and results that we got out of that, they tied into previous downtown studies as well, and they kind of strengthened those, some of those action items. And so this actually is one of those action items that's touched in a few different studies that we've done as well. So,
Perfect.
yep.
Okay, great. Thank you, Pat. Thanks for inviting us here. So I'm Sarah Katib. I'm the president and founder of Destination Downtown. For anybody in the room or watching who doesn't know about us, we are a community-led nonprofit 501c3 with the mission to vitalize downtown Walpole, bring the community together, support Walpole businesses, and, you know, just be a place also for information for the community. So you can find our website at walpoledowntown.org. We had that created about a year ago. We have a lot on the website. We have a community calendar where folks can submit events. We have a business directory that is free to any Walpole business to list their business there with all their information, their address, email, social media. We also have several different feature articles that are written by the board highlighting different events. We were talking about the parade. We have an article about the parade. You know, different new businesses that come, we highlight them. So there's a lot of information there. And as Pat had mentioned, so we've been, you know, I've been here before, to the EDC, and I've worked a lot with Pat and even his predecessors on things related to the downtown vitalization, community events, improving the downtown, bringing people together. And so, yeah, we have had this idea for a long time about a public art mural somewhere downtown, or maybe a few different places downtown. And we wanted to focus our first effort on the pedestrian pathway, the main pedestrian pathway that goes from the public parking behind Jalapenos, that big public lot, to Main Street. And so that first location that we want to focus on is the pedestrian pathway, and it's between Walpole Dance Center and Donahue Real Estate. It's a perfectly nice pathway right now. I mean, it's clean, but it's pretty bare, and it's not really well used. And we thought it would be great to add public art there. If we're able to fundraise enough, we would love to add other amenities like lights, benches, some landscaping. And so we've started to work with the property owners, those two particular property owners, and also reaching out to other property owners around Walpole downtown to see, you know, if their location might be a potential site for future endeavors. So really, community art, mural art has the outcomes of vitalizing the area, and also we plan to have a community component, so really involve the Walpole community and kind of deciding what is on the mural, right? So we wanna have the artist kind of lead that, but it should be a community involvement. You know, what does the community like to see? You know, what are the ideas? What kind of colors? What's the message? And so that's a key component. We do want to get a professional artist, and the bulk of what we want to fundraise is for the artist fee. So we want to pay them for their work, and then there are, you know, various supplies that are needed, and fundraising efforts and marketing and things like that. But Rick Ward, who is here with me, is a new member to our board, fairly new member, and he's just been a phenomenal addition. I'll let him speak in a minute, but he was many, many years on the Roslindale Main Street program, which is another organization that's very similar to us, but started long before us. But yeah, we'd love to work with you all, hear your ideas. I'll be approaching all of you individually to see if you might want to contribute to the project and become involved. But before I open it up for questions, I'll just let Rick, if you want to add anything about the project. And
just that I don't have enough for everybody, but you can share these little flyers that we made. Basically, it's called the proposal about the Mural project in downtown Walpole, reimagining the underutilized alleyways that connect the municipal parking lots to Main Street. And just because our goal, the way it's written, explains it perfectly, I'm not gonna try to make it up. So just to let you know, the goal is to vitalize the uninviting alleyways that connect our municipal parking lots to Main Street, downtown business district, by adding creative, inspirational, and colorful murals on exterior building walls. Our goal is to provide new large public art murals, creating a more welcoming environment downtown. So, should I pass these out now?
Yeah, if you have
So-
to
so
share
this-
with people.
Yeah, so the QR code was just a fill-in space, we're gonna have a different one, so that one, these QR codes won't work, but if you want to pass these around, you can have these, I don't need these back.
Also, I'll just mention that we have a campaign with Patronicity, which is like a crowdfunding site. We have that up and basically ready to go live. And they have been really great. They have a whole, like coach that helps us set up the site and help us develop like a good program to really reach out to the community. And so that will be going live soon, and, as I mentioned, we're a 501c3, so any donations to the project would be tax deductible.
So I'll jump the gun and
Yeah.
ask, what is the proposed cost, say for the proposal number one?
The estimated proposal is around 15,000
Okay.
for a mural. And like I said, the artist fee that we're expecting is gonna be like around 10,000 or so, and that would include the materials.
Have you raised any to date, and/or, second question is, what is Destination Downtown planning to contribute to the proposal?
Well, we have some funds which we're gonna contribute, but we're going to be leading the fundraising.
Okay.
We're applying for a grant through the Walpole Cultural Council, we're applying through a couple different local banks to hopefully get some funding that way. And then fundraising and working with other organizations, we hope to get, local support from other Walpole organizations.
The goal is to work with as many local organizations that would have an interest in this type of project, so that we can build some momentum and interest and garner more money than we need, which would be great. The Patronicity crowdfunding platform will start with a $5,000 goal, but we know that's not enough. But we don't want to make it like 10 or 15,000 when people go to sign up and see that the goal's so large they don't want to contribute or think that their contribution won't matter, because every contribution will help. So we're starting at 5,000, then we'll elevate that. Once we hit 5,000, we'll elevate it again to maybe another 5,000, and then hopefully, the ultimate goal is to maybe get $15,000. And so we really hope to push it out on social media. There's a variety of Facebook pages, Walpole Facebook pages, as well as our website, and we're working now with a marketing person that really knows what she's doing. Not that we didn't know before, but someone who did it professionally, who is helping us with an email campaign and a marketing campaign to help push this out to the community as well, which is pretty exciting. So we're really hoping to get a lot of interest, and that flyer that you see, we're hoping to duplicate it and walk around. I was gonna walk around to every business in the downtown district to just give it to them, so they're aware of what's going on. It may not be affecting them directly, but indirectly it will be, if we can get more people to park in the parking lot and use the alleyways to create more foot traffic on the streets around downtown Walpole. Everybody will benefit.
I have a question. How will the artist be selected, and subsequently, how will the final design for the mural be selected?
Well, we're gonna model our process after other communities that have done similar, outreach and murals. So there's a selection process where we're gonna, invite artists, and there's a few artists that we've, been in contact with over the years. We'll reach out to them, and, they know that we've considered this mural project for a while, so we'll let them know that we're moving ahead, and then we'll have a public outreach also. And then we have a plan in place, to engage with the community, really driven by the artists, so hopefully we find an artist that has, done this before, done other community involvement. That's the type of artist that we're seeking, someone that can work well with community organizations and really engage with the community.
When you say engage with the community, I'm sorry, did I?
No, I was just gonna say, like, once you have that artist, though, will they provide options for what the mural will look like, and then there will be like some kind of vote to
There
move
might
forward
be.
with the design, or?
There might be, or we might, ask the community ideas and then we'll bring those ideas to the artist and see, so
Just curious.
yeah, it could go kind of either way, either the community first or the artist first, and, we'll kind of see as we go through the process.
Rosendale is where you were doing this previously,
Yes.
and you have experience with this type of a project being completed, in your experience?
Not in my direct experience, but with Rosendale Village Main Street, I was a volunteer and on the board for 17 years, so I was around those types of activities. They have since created some murals after I left, because I live here now. But I've actually gone back there and taken pictures of some of the murals they have there and gotten the names of who these artists are. And so we've started a little database of potential artists we can reach out to as well.
Good. I'd be interested in knowing what their process was,
Mm.
in terms of getting there and deciding on, what the final product was gonna look like.
Mhm.
Walpole's I don't have to tell anyone in this room.
What's he gonna say now?
You never know, do you? No, it's a town, one thing I will say, I could sit here all day, talk about the things that make Walpole great, and one of them is the pride that the people have in the town.
Mhm.
And so we would want to find, obviously, an artist that was able to capture that feeling and then
Mhm.
produce something that
Mhm.
would fall
Yeah.
along those lines. But I'm sure that's everyone's prerequisite, right, with this, so.
Right, yeah, and whatever, image or images are selected is going to be like, a welcoming, including everyone, not any, it's gonna be a good message for everyone in the community, we're not trying to make any political.
No, I
statements or-
understand. I wasn't,
So it's
I wasn't
a
trying
little-
to.
Right,
How
you
about-
know that until someone takes it as a political statement.
Well, yeah,
But
but,
that doesn't happen.
the idea is.
You haven't
it
been
will
here
be
very
for-
long,
for
yeah.
I've heard though.
Right.
No, I wasn't thinking politically, I was thinking more along the lines of
History.
history, yeah, and what,
Mhm.
and kind of the landmarks in town.
Mhm.
One of the first thing that came to my, I'm sorry. go
Oh,
ahead.
no, go ahead, sorry.
One of the things that came to my mind was years ago, had to be more than 10 years ago, when they built up on Route 1, like behind off Dean Street, they built, was gonna be like where Monster Hockey is and all that stuff. But on the wall facing Route 1 was a huge mural of different landmarks in Norwood. Now, I'm not saying that that's the direction we wanted to go, but every time I drove past that, I was like, wow, it's really
It's
good,
okay.
that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So,
Mhm.
anyway, that's.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, we do want something, especially for the first one, that's maybe, well, for sure, respects Walpole and, the history and, the community, but we hope that there'll be, this will be like one of several down the
Sure.
line. So, if there's a popular idea maybe that doesn't make it to the first mural, like, hopefully we can incorporate that into a
Right.
future project.
Have you had any pushback at all from the property owners?
No, so far, people are amenable to it, yeah,
Mm,
they're excited, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna brighten things and make it more inviting, bring hopefully more people downtown to their business, I mean,
As an example, I don't know if anybody's been to Hyde Park, but if you go down Fairmont Avenue from Truman Highway, right across from the fire station, there's a big mural on the wall that says "Greetings from Hyde Park," and it's written in like that 1950s postcard style where the letters are very wide and they got different scenes from Hyde Park built into the letters.
Each letter has a different scene.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
Yeah,
And those look really, it looks really good, and that seems to be a style that a lot of communities are doing.
Sure.
That might not work right where we're talking about, but maybe down the road in another you would want that in a very visible spot as people enter Walpole, because it's welcoming, you know, to the town. And
Put it on the side of his new building.
Yeah, that's it.
Who owns the land? Is that an easement the town holds?
that's,
Or
as
is
I
it full property
understand
owner?
it, owned by the owner of, Walpole Dance Center,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Now, isn't that,
And,
is that
and I
Tony's property or
asked,
the dance center owns that?
no, the dance center,
Oh, okay.
and they also own that blue building behind.
Oh, that's theirs?
the garage, yeah, a
Mhm.
beautiful garage.
Mhm.
And so how,
So I,
it's,
yeah, I asked, is there a town easement? She's like, no, we just kinda let people use it.
cool.
Oh, there might be now, though.
And what about,
How
like,
long does it
say,
take?
the,
30 years, 20 years?
how long, I mean, I assume it lasts for a long time, but how long does the painting or the mural stay on the wall, weather-wise?
I think it's dependent on, you know, the materials that are used and so.
If you
but-
put something over it,
of
There's
Yeah,
usually a
go ahead.
sealant
So-
that they use.
Well, yeah, there's basically a sealant. So I looked into this in 2021. I did reach out to the muralist who did, I think it was Assembly Row in Somerville. So yeah, there's a sealant, almost like an epoxy sealant that they utilize, and so that's, everything has to do with the timing too. It has to be a warm part of the year, obviously, if you're painting in general. But
Yeah, those sealants are like anti-graffiti too, so
that was my next
if
question.
somebody, when that sealant is on there, if somebody does try to vandalize it, it really is a relatively easy process to get it off without wrecking the mural itself,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, we hope that it lasts for many, many years, and also as a part of this project, we're committing to, maintaining the mural
If
as
you,
long as we're in existence.
if you put it on private property though, what if one of the buildings sells in the future to a future owner and they don't want it, can't they just paint over it?
And they could,
Yeah, just
yeah.
considering.
yeah.
But we could always wash it off, because we have that sealant.
We finally lost the whale in Boston, remember that one, the big one?
It's still there.
It
It's
is
just
still
got-
there, or
It's
is
still
it
got, it's
blocked?
got like an ink block building in front of it.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Huge apartment building that looks out to the whales.
So how do you envision EDC being involved?
Well, we'd love to have your partnership in helping to promote it, being involved. We'd love a contribution. So I guess in whatever capacity that you think is beneficial, but we do definitely see this as an economic development issue. It is an initiative that will be beneficial to economic development. Creative placemaking, making things more, comfortable and vibrant. So, yeah, I guess my question is to you all, like, how do you see yourselves being involved?
Well, I think it's a great idea. It's always as you improve anything, you start to kind of whittle things down to the details. And so I think we are at the detail stage in Walpole Center, where now the small things that you might not notice first pass make a big difference in the overall feel. So I like the idea. I think it's good for the center. I think it's just another one of the things, the whole goal is to have people just say, wow, this is nice. And sometimes I don't even know why, right?
Right.
So, I think it's something that EDC could get behind for sure.
We also know that people think that there's not enough parking in downtown Walpole, even though maybe there is, but some people think there isn't, and maybe they're correct. But if we have these murals in these alleyways, that might entice them to want to park in the municipal parking lot, just so they can walk to Main Street through the alleys to see what they look like. So that will help steer some interest as well.
When are you launching the online fundraising?
We hope at the end of this week or early next week. And then our goal would be an installation in May. next year.
I have a great idea, you can, over the mural, just say parking with an arrow.
Is that on the list?
What if, have you thought about like, you know, 10 grand is a lot for an
Right.
artist, but have you thought about like the local artists, the local kids, the high school department? Are they that good where they could do that?
I mean, we're gonna open it up to anyone and we'll see, you know, what the interest is, but I have seen other projects where they let like, you know, kids or other organizations kind of do some of the prep, and so they have like ownership in it. So if there's like a white background, you know, that might be a community project to paint that background or something like that. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to open the interest to, you know, local artists.
Cause I noticed they did a great job on the ducks and all that design and.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, for sure.
I think another way for involvement is to get content ideas, you know, let a professional artist do the work.
Right.
And maybe interpret some of those content ideas into something that would be pleasing in that not only environment, but the size of it. So, but getting ideas for the mural might be something to put out to the art departments, because those kids certainly have, you know, things that we're not even thinking about right now that they might be. But in any event, you're right, no matter what happens, just getting the community involved makes people feel more welcoming to it, you know, I think, as opposed to just saying, this is what we're gonna put here, and whether you like it or not, you know?
Right, yeah, and it, you know, the goal is it will become like a landmark, right, to last for many, many years, and so, we definitely want the community input in
So my
creating and
question on
shaping.
that is, how will that be accomplished? And I don't wanna hear it just on a Destination Downtown Facebook page,
Yeah,
or voting, you know, on a website. You know, how will you reach out to this, you know, to the community for, you know, input into the content, and then potentially, you know, full approval of this, that it looks good for 4 people, but for 40, you know, it upsets them.
Well, what would be the, I guess, law if I own a building and I wanna do whatever I wanna do on the side, what's that? Is there a law against what?
In terms of painting?
Yeah,
So no, so that's the one, if it was in the fixed sign, that's when the zoning bylaws would kick in. So if you're like, if you're putting an actual physical sign there, but a mural is it's not regulated like that. So,
so you could do whatever you
Yeah.
want.
yeah.
You know when it's gonna get regulated? When Ricardo sees this meeting and he paints jalapeno right across the front of his building.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, the town can regulate in terms of signage, in terms of
Right.
scale, but content is never anything you can really regulate,
Yeah.
that's,
Right.
that's protected.
And that's
rights.
probably, that's
So,
a good
yeah.
thing, but that leads to my question, like, I'd like to know more about as you go through this, on the selection process and the thing that, you know, it's far reaching,
right.
you know?
Well, that's part of the artist selection process, that we want, you know, them to show us that they've, you know, done things like that before, and kind of give us a proposal on how they're going to engage with the community. We have our own ideas, you know, it's not just gonna be on Facebook. But yeah, you know, media, Walpole media, newspapers, our website, community forums, you know, I mean, it should be, you know, robust. We really wanna get the community's input.
So, I actually had an idea, and Mark, you might remember this from the wayfinding committee.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Some of those exercises that we did there in terms of what do you think of when you think of Walpole, what do you like, what do you don't like, what colors come to mind, stuff like that. Those might be kind of questions where
Sure.
you're not looking for, tell me what you want the mural to be, but you get an idea of how do people visualize
Right.
Walpole, and
Yeah.
maybe someone, like an artist, can interpret that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You ask fact-finding questions, and then you can take all that data and give it to an artist that has vision and say,
Mm-hmm,
what can you make of this?
right.
Yeah, good. Do you have involvement from other groups in town?
We're
Yeah.
working on it, we're
Okay.
working on it, yeah, it's all, at the beginning stages.
Sure.
Yeah.
I personally would be very surprised if the fundraising was hard to get with this type of a project. I think that as long as, to Kevin's point, you get the word out to where people are actually looking,
Right.
I think that you'll get a lot of feedback, and I also think it'll generate a lot of financial interest in fundraising, so
Mm.
however you think we can help, we can talk about any kind of contribution as we get closer, but in the meantime, any way that you think we can help in getting the word out, just let us know, we'd be very happy to take that on in the beginning,
Okay.
and then see where it goes.
You just did.
We just did.
All the people watching.
Yeah, 14 viewers. Although, I have noticed
Yeah.
that when I say something that I know no one's gonna like, the viewership's like 250, 260, and when I say nothing, it's like 10. So maybe I should say something now. Danelle hates it when I say things like
No,
that.
I do think a good avenue to get that would be on through the billboards in town.
Okay,
Get up there and send them to your website saying we're looking for input into murals or whatever, so that everybody sees it.
What if somebody comes in with like a substantial donation that they want to design the mural themselves?
no. Should be a community-led, project, yeah.
No
Yeah,
shamrocks.
billboards, like there's one on Route 1, I know,
There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah.
But what do they cost?
You gotta take down.
Well, they do a lot, if it's a,
face.
for destination downtown or 5013C, they do a lot of work with that for nothing.
Oh,
Yeah, they'll mix it into the rotation if they have the spot
oh,
available.
wow.
Mm.
which we had, in our, we did uncommon art on the common.
Right.
And we were able to get a spot on the billboard, which was great.
Is it right there by High Plains Avenue and Route 1? Is that where it is?
It's on Route
That's one of them, yeah.
That's one of them,
Yeah,
there's
there's a
one down
couple
the South
different-
Walpole, the Walpole-Foxborough line. There's
Mm.
a couple new ones up by Minuteman Truck or up in
Yeah.
that area up there. New ones behind Copeland.
It's a good, it might be a good time of year too, because, if you put some feet on the street during like Christmas tree lighting, that type of thing, where maybe you hand out something with the QR code that just points to wherever the most information is, your website or whatever it is,
Yeah,
I think
Oh, definitely.
those are the families that you wanna get involved, because typically they have younger kids who wanna get involved in this type of thing, so.
yeah.
But I think it's a good time of year to,
Start the process.
Are you
Start
gonna have a
the process.
website dedicated to that, or is it just gonna work off of the destination downtown type thing?
The plan is to, within our website,
Mhm.
but then, like I said, we have this crowdfunding campaign, and that lives on Patronicity website. And then you can, we'll have QR codes to link people on it, like a short URL to direct people, and then you can search through there. And then, yeah, our website and
Mhm.
social media, our social media.
I'm sure you're planning to do this with that, but examples, like, I thought it was an interesting idea, and then when you mentioned the kind of postcard theme, I'm not saying that that's what it should be,
Mhm,
but when I pictured that,
mhm,
my interest went way up.
mhm.
So showing examples on that website of what you're talking about, I think would, and again, this is not your first rodeo, so I'm sure that you're thinking of this, but I think putting examples of other places that have done it and the actual mural itself would be huge in terms of generating, because everything else would be just an idea.
Right, and downtown Walpole has a mural, actually, on the side of Bianco's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I like too, because it makes you look
right,
instead of think.
right,
With
and
a
probably most
message
people don't
type
even
thing.
really think about it that much, but
Mhm.
it's pleasant,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
You walk through there and it's like, oh, you feel like you're in Italy, or,
Mhm.
it just adds vibrancy,
Mm.
so, yeah.
Well, with Danelle being in town, we have to at least feel like we're in Italy once in a while. Other than that, we're in Ireland, so.
So should you write like a letter of recommendation or something from us?
I think that if we start promoting, helping to promote individually, I think that is like an approval or an endorsement letter that we're behind this. I mean, we could, but I don't think that people are gonna sit there and say, oh, the EDC's involved, good, then I'm definitely doing this now, you know?
Right.
But we have enough contacts, especially with Main Street Live, where people will take a look, at least, you know, we put a couple of promotions on the Main Street Live Facebook page, and you're gonna get 1,000 people that are really interested in what goes on downtown, so, you know, that kind of promotional involvement, I think, says that we're behind it to some degree.
We'd love to have the chamber's support as well.
Sounds good.
You're next.
Does Main Street Live have their own website or a Facebook page, or?
We have a Facebook page, yeah. No, people aren't very happy with us right now, but we'll get past that. But yeah, I think, I don't wanna speak for everybody, but I think it's something that we can get behind as a group and help out wherever we can. I think it's a great idea.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
So we'll be sure to share all the updates, and when we go live, we'll share that with you. Hope you all can share it and contribute and help spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Have Patrick send you some of the wayfinding hours of droning meetings without one sign ever going up in town.
Yeah.
A lot of good ideas there. Leaves, birds, you know, Walpole stuff.
Yeah.
Rivers, bridges, dams. Those signs would have looked good. I don't know what happened with that, but that's a whole different discussion. All right, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Nice to meet
Good to
you.
see you guys
Great.
again.
Thank you.
We took it easy on you. This could have been a lot worse, believe me.
We're looking forward to launching the program.
Yeah, it'll be
Good luck.
fun.
Good luck.
Nice to meet you guys.
And we've got to get a lot of people involved and interested and excited so that they can help us promote it, so it's all about word of mouth as well, so.
Yep. And Walpole's very good at that. No, really it is. I
Give
mean,
me a chance on Thursday, give me a
you
buzz
know,
on that other
what
day.
you estimate 25,000 people at that
Thursday.
parade?
I
mean, that's-
throughout the whole route.
That's town involvement right there. And what do we have, 30,000 people that live in the town?
Us.
Yeah.
Round numbers?
26.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All these
so
groups, it's not like we have walls.
if there's something going on in the town, the townspeople really like to
Everybody, yeah,
be a
exactly.
part of it, as long as we can get in front of it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
My
All right,
pleasure.
thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thanks, Sarah. Good seeing you again.
Nice to see you.
Be such a stranger.
Yeah, you too.
I thought we had
Come
two new
join a
members.
meeting.
I thought we had two
Thanks,
new
guys.
members.
Yeah, I was hoping. Speaking of that, do we have any, before we move on with this, do we have any new member updates?
Harry.
Yay!
Are you official now?
Well, I haven't been sworn in, I tried earlier, they might come in during the meeting.
So you put your letter in before the selectmen and they voted you
Yeah,
in
Pat
already?
did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pat put it in via EDC.
Good.
I
They
can
didn't
see that.
interview you? Like,
They
some
didn't
of us
interview
had to
you?
go in
You didn't
front
have
of
to
them.
go up there and shake hands with them.
No, it was a one
Like
time,
I did.
Right.
it was all
Had two
budgets and
openings
everything
in
else.
I didn't see any lawn signs.
Yeah, you know, they got that letter and they were like,
That's great.
No comment.
yeah. But hey, we're in the same boat, man. They tried to out me once, remember? When they just said, you're out, and I said, what are you talking
No
about?
comment.
The viewership is skyrocketing.
Yeah. You can tell I'm shaking in my proverbial boots right now. Tom, someone mentioned
Me, Tom Schneider,
Tom Schneider. Any progress on that? Because I like Tom, he's a good guy. I mean,
keep saying he's interested.
I'd like
This
to-
meeting caught up on me quick though, like, didn't we just have a meeting? It felt like.
The first was a Tuesday, so,
Actually, I feel like
so
we're
this is
going
actually
on.
the third,
Yeah.
even though it's the second week, so.
We actually did 2 in a row, so that's, you know, applaud.
should I reach out to Tom? I mean, I know him well.
Definitely,
Yeah, all right.
absolutely.
And numbers wise, how many are we short right now?
Just one.
Just one. So if we get Tom and he's truly interested, then that's it, right?
Yeah.
I think you should, and that puts us at what, 7?
Yeah.
I think you should ask the selectmen to add another 2 more.
Wait,
Make it
but
9.
isn't it 5-member board with 2 associates, is that what that is?
So-
That's
Got rid of the
7-member
associates.
board?
Yeah, no, we
Seven-member
voted
board.
the associates.
So we were a 9-member board with 5 associates, which I don't know any committee that has
Yeah.
that size. And then we moved it down to 7. That was like about 2 years ago.
And then we
Just-
made,
just
and then we
seven
made,
Just 7, got rid of associates. and
No
just
associates,
7
okay.
members. We can adjust it again if you want,
Well,
but
I
it's-
think that if we have 7 voting members,
Yep.
full-time members, and for some reason or whatever, we start to get a lot of people that are interested, we could always add associates, right? If we wanted to.
I think we just have to change the charge. I mean, yeah, anyone can attend the meeting,
Right.
but if they wanna be like an official associate, they would need to, amend the charge just to have an associate member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's fill what we have now first and then worry about that. Okay.
So the second item, and this is especially getting towards Mark as the chair, but the select board has established a MCI Cedar Junction advisory board. So as everyone knows, Cedar Junction closed down about 2 years ago. State still retains ownership. They're holding on to it. Every time I think I've been asked what's going on, we don't know. There's no real movement there. But the select board wants to get ahead of it, make sure that there's some sort of planning process put in place prior to the state decommissioning and trying to sell. That's a deadline we're not entirely sure when or when that may happen. But the advisory board membership consists of the town administrator, select board chair, vice chair, planning board chair, or their designee, community economic development director, building commissioner, and EDC chair, their designee, and then DPW director and sewer water superintendent. So, I know Mark being the chair, if he so wishes to.
I wouldn't mind doing it unless somebody else has a interest in being involved in that.
I have an interest in being involved, but I don't need to be, like, I can volunteer as available. I'm definitely interested in it though.
Okay. All right, why don't we,
Do they have an anticipation on, obviously it's up in the air, but are they gonna try to meet once a month or every
Yeah.
other month until there's movement
That hasn't been.
Good.
been discussed?
So that's a good question for me to ask.
is the state allowed to sit on it forever, or is there a statute in place where they have to make a decision?
That I don't know. I do know when it comes to MCI Concord, so that one is, they're already looking to get rid of that, but that was basically pushed by the governor immediately. There's a state agency, I'm getting the acronym wrong, but it's like DCOM or something like that.
DCAM.
DCAM, thank you. That basically, when the state's trying to sell property, take them through the process of planning for potential reuse. So right now, can they hold on to it forever? Probably, it's their.
I just didn't know if there was a
Yeah.
statute, like, hey, once
Yeah.
we stop using this as a prison, we have 2 years to figure out.
I mean,
what we're
it's on
gonna
an
do.
upkeep, right? So we have the old town hall, we have to upkeep that old town hall to keep it, in working condition. Same thing with the prison. I'm not sure what type of upkeep is taking place there, if they're, keeping the lights on or whatnot, but, anything like that, you let sit for a number of years, it's going to fall into
Well,
disrepair.
the other part about that is, there's no doubt that there's gonna be some huge remediation that has to go on up there.
Hmm.
So selling it is not gonna just be a walk in the park, at least as it seems right now.
Yeah.
How many acres is the site?
I don't know.
It's over 50, I think it's, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think it's like 50, 60 acres, something like that.
And part of that one, is that in part of, in Norfolk too?
Yeah, so that's another complicated or interesting part. So half of it is in Walpole, the other half is in Norfolk.
Can I ask some general questions you
Yeah.
may not have the answers to?
Yep, I can put it in there.
Where did all these prisoners go?
That I don't have an answer. I'm
Shirley.
assuming, yeah.
Shirley? Is that a newer building, or newer?
It's newer, but it's not new,
Okay.
No.
but it is more state-of-the-art than Alcatraz East.
And, yeah, so I thought that a lot of the real violent criminals were moved out, because the escapee recently came from there, right?
Pondview.
Pondview.
Pondville.
So it's
Yeah.
not that, what's, not the old one, where's Pondview then?
It's like the next one up. It's early.
It's
Next one.
between Walpole Prison and Bay State Correctional.
Yes.
Right.
But it's very close to Walpole Prison
Okay.
and not near,
Well, isn't
Norfolk
Pondville where they put a lot of the immigrants?
That was
That's
based
what I
No,
on-
it's
thought.
Bay State.
That's
That was
Bay State.
Bay
So
State.
Pondville's the one next to it?
So there's something
Closer
in
to
between, I
Walpole,
guess.
Closer to Walpole, like the end of, what's that street, West Street or whatever it is, or it's not West Street, there.
Winter Street.
Winter.
Yeah. So I mean, there's 1A. So you have Cedar Junction on 1A. Then it's
Yeah.
Pondville. Then it's Bay State, and then it's MCI Norfolk.
Oh, so there's 4 there.
yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, there's 4.
Yes, there's 4, there's Pondville, Walpole, Bay State, and then Norfolk. All 3 have different, self-contained in hundreds of acres, not hundreds of yards between.
When did Concord close? Anybody know?
Maybe I'm just estimating less than a year, maybe 6 to 8
Yeah, I
months
was
after.
gonna say, it
the
must have
year.
been
Yeah.
soon, recent, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, they're gonna get rid of that one quick. You can't have a prison in Concord,
But it's also a really prime location.
right on the
It's
rotary there.
Yeah.
Just gotta raise the money in order to house everything that's going on, so.
So that's not good. So the other one, so that prisoner, the escapee came from, it was like a pre-release thing. That's
Yeah,
what that
I think
is.
that's what it is, yeah.
Okay.
I guess he couldn't wait to pre-release.
He wanted
He
to be
left there
caught
early.
again. I think he didn't want to leave the prison system.
Um,
That's what I was told. But,
You're caught that night, right?
the next day,
Next day.
Who tells them these things?
supposedly he spent the night in the woods, and then, cause he tried to steal a car, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And then the next day they were searching, and he was finally caught around Rodman somewhere that night. But I was sitting out there with my, I guess, we'll call it
He's gonna be me now.
my armory. in the
I can just see the
backyard, sitting
viewership
there.
going way up.
The helicopters were coming around, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just come walk on my property, please." I wasn't gonna shoot him, but apprehend him, it would be in the paper. What was I gonna say? So, oh yeah, and then, again, general question for that spot, the other spot where the immigrants are living.
Yep.
I was also told that they are not to leave, they can't leave and go out and come back.
There's very like strict rules.
It's almost like a prison within a
It's
prison,
very
right?
similar to a prison.
I was like, you come all this way, they put you in this spot with barbed wires.
No,
and
they can
fences,
leave,
you
they just can't walk away. So if you,
Yeah.
if they
Just say
call,
we're
if
going for a
they
walk.
call a Lyft or an Uber, they can get picked up and go wherever they're going.
They're
Okay,
not allowed to leave, yeah.
They just can't leave on foot.
really?
There's definitely like a lot of odd rules, but you're also,
But they have the state Uber card,
hopefully in a
so.
better spot.
Oh,
than
they
you
got a
were.
state Uber card, interesting. Where do you get those?
I don't know, I can't say it.
Now, again, I'm regardless of whatever,
Through the program.
all the politics involved, but again, you come all the way this way, you get put up somewhere, and you can't walk out of your residence and go enjoy the weather and the scenery.
But I'm confused, aren't they there for only 4 days only, or whatever the thing is now, that got passed?
No, my town.
Yeah.
That seems short.
Remember, there was that whole, I could be wrong, but
No,
it
there was
was,
supposed to be like 4 or 5 days, yeah.
yeah, it was 4 days only that you can stay in one of these facilities.
It's all changing.
And
very
where to
quickly.
go, whatever, that's been all out of
So definitely off
the
tangent now.
news, so
Yeah, and I have
by no
topic.
means an expert.
So this is just a matter of, do we approve of or like the fact that there's gonna be an advisory board?
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Put 'em on it.
You calling the shots now, are you?
No, no.
One day on the board, you know,
Not at
now
all.
you're,
Not at all. It will not be.
yeah, that's fine. Again, I like the fact that we're trying to get out ahead of it. I think that's important as opposed to being dictated to by the state. Maybe we could put something together where if they drag their feet, the state,
Yeah.
that we might be able to keep a little bit of fire under their feet. We don't want it to turn it
Just so I
into
don't
something.
forget, sorry to interrupt, this is
Yeah.
huge. There's a big water issue up there too, in regard to water and sewer connection
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I remember some people talking about, oh no, because Norfolk will steal our water and, but this could be the best opportunity to stop running that water right down 1A, like I talked about, to facilitate all that.
Sewer's a big issue. I think there's especially when it comes to like the industrial park, there's no connection right there right now, so that's.
I know, but
The connection stops like what, near Chris's Auto Body,
Yeah,
right
I thought
around
they
there?
brought it in through the back road there, didn't they?
They brought it in for the fields through the back,
Some of that industrial park's not sewer now?
but they brought in water, not,
Not to double check,
Not
not
sewer, I
that
don't
last
think.
time.
for the ball fields. They had to tap into
Yeah.
the neighborhood behind. But, I mean, they finally sold the hospital, right?
Oh, in Norfolk?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's been bought for a while now by a company, but their plan for it is still like, it's in flux. They gotta change the zoning over there. They have a ton of remediation, in terms of just the ground itself.
right.
And I think last I heard the plan, it was more or less geared towards some version of commercial warehouse space, but it really is.
So nothing that they might be compelled to start thinking about sewer and water all the way up there,
Oh, in terms of,
on their end.
yeah, nothing that's coming to me.
That's a big macro thing,
Oh, yeah,
is develop all those properties, get water and sewer going up there.
I mean, yeah,
But
but
also work up on the other spots that we talked about.
you gotta find someone that is willing to, I mean, they used to make all the manufacturing that they had in the prison. The remediation is gonna be ludicrous, almost a fatal flaw in that property,
Well, you're gonna have to rip it down and go down 20 feet or so, right?
right?
That's absolutely the case.
And then deal with the same people that sold it to you to approve it once you're done.
Being a state.
The state, exactly. And they're always so willing to push things forward.
Maybe they should do the remediation before they sell it.
They might have to, or
I
they
think
might
they-
have to
they end up
offer
doing
money, right, they'd have to give you like a dollar value per acre or something.
Yeah, don't get me started on that, no, whatever, it's moot. That should be the new high school, I don't care what anyone says. Every town that's worth their salt has put their high schools somewhere out of the center of town and made it an absolute palace.
But doesn't that have to come before the town before it goes to public?
And for purchase?
Yeah.
I
Like a
don't think
right of,
so.
I'm
Like a
not
right of
sure.
refusal?
Yeah, that would depend on what
Okay.
type of agreement's in place, and I don't really know about offhand, so.
I think that should be the first thing that committee should find out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Jim knows and Pat knows, but it's, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, I'm sure they know, I'm just not telling anyone else. And it's probably moot at this point, because the state, I saw a sign up there just the other day that led me to believe they were doing something out of that building. It said something center, it was like a temporary sign, and I don't know what it was, but the state's using it for something right now, I don't know what it
There's
is.
still just as many employee cars or whatever, what I see when I drive by. So people are definitely working it.
Don't they have the chain across the front still?
On one of them, but on the other one, it has a sign, you know, I wish I could
At the
remember what it
power,
said.
where the power plant is?
Up further, that one visitor, the old
That's
visitor
the entrance
entrance,
to Pondville.
I don't know.
That's the entrance to Pondville, just past the prison on the right.
Yeah, there's kind of like two entrances that go up and
Well,
in.
the first entrance brings you into Walpole,
Right.
right after the prison, right, well, you can see it there. Then another 200 yards down the road, there's a hard right-hand turn. and that
Like
brings
almost
you
right
into
across the
Pondville.
street from the ball fields, right?
Little
No,
further
almost
down.
right across the street from,
Hospital.
The
the
hospital?
hospital, yeah.
Got it.
Now I see, so that's, I'm not even seeing that from the street.
No, you can't see
Oh,
Pondville
okay.
from the street, it's hidden
Okay.
in the woods. You
Okay.
can't see it from Winter or from Maine.
And the other question too is, who would wanna live next? You still have the other three components.
Hmm.
So like, first I was thinking like townhouses or residential. People would wanna live next to that, would they?
I don't know, that Pondville is like probably 100 yards away from the
Right.
resident. It's really right close to it. It's as close to Walpole as Bay State Correctional is to Norfolk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
but on the
in
other
between
end-
those two-
Yeah.
On the other end of it
Residential.
though, like if you go up to, I grew up in Acton, and there's neighborhoods that literally
Yeah.
are right up against the Concord prison, doesn't matter.
And I thought there was a neighborhood that you drove through the parking lot to get to. That's already back there. When Sue was driving me around looking at homes, somehow we ended up cutting through the
Oh,
parking lot.
to the right of Norfolk
Yeah.
prison there is.
But she
yeah.
said you could end up here if you
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
if you
if
keep
you
it
don't
up.
behave.
That's what my father did to me when I was like 6 years old. For dropping you off. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
to,
I think from the email at least, so once it's confirmed, I'll let Jim know, or if you wanna let Jim know, and then after that, they'll be able to schedule the first meeting, for that group.
sounds good.
So, yeah. Other than that, the only other thing is the economic development study update. I talked to Gurdeep, she's currently going through all the information I gave her in terms of just, background, previous studies, a couple of our, GIS data in terms of like where our sewer lines are, because that's also something that she wants to factor in. The only other thing is I know there was a questionnaire that I had sent out a little while ago. I think Donnell and Brianna responded. I don't know if anyone else has been able to take a
What was
look at that. It's like 7 or so questions. I have a printout in the packet. But I can I'll send it out to everyone again if you have time, before
Yeah, I
Friday.
responded directly to her,
Oh,
so if you
okay.
wanna just check with her.
Yeah,
And I can resend it, I'll resend it again
Is this it?
tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's it,
Yeah, I thought I did that, but,
That's okay, yeah, I mean, if you wanna check with her or CC me or something, maybe.
well, I'll forward, I can re-forward
Yeah.
and send, and I'll CC you
Okay, yeah.
if there's confusion.
What zone is the, prison in?
It's zoned rural residential, technically.
Is it in the Aquifer Protection District? I think it might be outside of it.
It's close if it is, I know that if it's anything, it's a zone 3 or something.
Yeah.
A lot of that area is upper 1A.
The only thing that's gonna go there is another, and this is not a bad thing, but another Amazon warehouse. They've been buying up and filling all properties like that all over eastern Mass.
Yeah, it's a little far off the highway and rail,
Yeah.
both of
I'll
those.
just forward it to.
Yeah, I was trying to look for it the other day.
Hey,
Wouldn't
Patrick,
be
any,
ideal,
any rumblings of anything new happening?
In terms of development?
Yeah, anybody new coming to town, or, I see Chick-fil-A's getting close to opening at the
Chick-fil-A's
mall.
getting close to opening. The mall is looking into doing some sort of rehabilitation to the interior part
Oh, are
of the
they?
mall.
Machine.
Yeah, it might be some sort of, I don't wanna misrepresent it, but like a variation of like a Dave and Buster's or
Oh,
like a
yeah.
kind of a active family space. with-
Like Apex up in, only not as big up in Marlboro.
We heard it was gonna be a trampoline park through the grapevine.
It's-
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
Where is that now? Where's that?
Apex is in Marlboro.
Apex is in Marlboro, but it would be the size of the whole mall plus,
Mm.
but something like a trampoline park though?
I don't think
That's
I
just
think
what
it's
the
a-
parents, the chatter is.
Yeah, I think they're going through the building permit right now
Young
for
kids'
for
school.
permits, to kind of start construction in there, but I think I don't know if it's gonna be a trampoline park, but it might be some variation of like games and.
Dave and Buster would be great.
Dream Machine just shut down on Sunday.
Yeah, I know, my kids went last weekend, they were all home, they had kids, one of them's 30, but they're like, I gotta go to Dream Machine, I went down.
Anything going on up at Applebee's? That hotel behind there?
Yeah, no, I've heard, I don't think the application is in yet, but I know, they're anticipating applying to the building, the planning board for site plan review, looking to bring the hotel back. That
Same
was-
group or a different group,
I think it's a different flagship, but it's the same ownership,
same ownership?
yeah. I know that was, I believe it was denied on height a couple years
Right.
ago,
Well,
well,
it wasn't, it was a fake wall, it wasn't even, there was nothing
Yeah.
behind it. What do you call that? When it's like just a facade,
Rising wall? Or,
like a facade on the top,
yeah.
but there's nothing behind it.
So since then, the
Yeah.
height
Screen.
in the center.
Yes.
Green wall.
Yeah, the height,
What is it?
requirement
Screen wall?
for the highway business districts has changed since then, we bumped it up to, I think it's 55. So it should provide, kind of, if that issue shouldn't arise
Right.
again.
And then make sure that the fire department standpipe is just on Walpole's land and not Sharon's. That was another big thing that they were arguing about for meeting after
Yeah.
meeting after meeting, yeah. Sharon's gonna steal our water. Okay.
Other than that, there's a really nice looking building over at 931
Yeah,
Main
it's getting
Street,
there.
getting there.
Yeah.
Who's building that one?
Some guy that's
Who is
in
it?
love with
I-
shamrocks.
I know, but who's the contractor? that
Oh,
use?
New England Construction.
That's what I thought I saw the sign.
So obviously that seems to be going
Yeah.
along really well.
You're gonna be getting close with that, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get occupancy December first, I
Really?
think, yeah.
Do you have a
great.
tenant?
For the first floor, not yet, and then I got a waiting list to get into, I think the apartment's gonna start showing them in another week or two.
How many units are there?
9 one
Nine.
bedrooms.
So in addition to that, there's also the mixed-use building, again, the address wrong, but it's where the old Leo's Pizza used to be, so if you're going up 1A,
Got it.
that I believe is 16 units, with commercial space on the first floor.
Condos or apartments?
I think right now they're gonna be rental, last I heard, they may look to sell later on, but, you know, right now, I think they're still taking their time, interior stuff is just kind of starting, last time I walked there.
Oh, yeah, next to the Dunkin' Donuts. or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's got
Let's
like,
go.
yeah, it didn't even look like it was closed up yet. Is it closed?
no,
Closed up?
no, there's, I mean, it looks, they put the siding on recently, the inside
Oh,
they're
okay.
still doing a lot.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Bank of America thing? That's been taking its time.
That's on, yeah, it is, that's been ongoing, I know a lot of issues with, the scaffolding and just kind of, the building is essentially the property, so I know they have an agreement with the town for the use of the public way for the scaffolding that, you don't know if it complicates the process really, but I know that's kind of,
Well, they're running out of time, man. It's gonna be,
yeah,
there's gonna
no,
be snow on the ground soon.
Just
yeah.
gotta be watertight.
It did have some issues initially, and I think it's, took a little while to get going. They seem to be working on it now, on a little bit better speed than they were. Also, I think it's Vincenzo's. So
Is that getting closer? to
it
opening?
should be close. Last I talked to the building department, I thought it was gonna be either this month or last month, so hopefully it should be open.
Yeah, I heard the
soon.
end of October.
Yeah,
Is that something like the EDC would like promote as well, or Destination Downtown, like people should be promoting that,
Yeah.
like, as far as like a new business is opening, they should have like a grand opening. Like,
Chamber does a lot of
The
that.
chamber
You
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
yeah, big scissors.
We try. Oh, yeah, we got those.
They gotta join first.
It's like the
and then
best
they'll
part of the
advertise.
day, the big scissors.
What, was there any holdup on Vincenzo's that was something that they weren't happy with, or is it just?
no, I don't know offhand. I mean, usually these things have to do with whatever sort of interior equipment they're purchasing or hookups, but I don't know.
But it
offhand.
wasn't anything from our end, right?
No, I mean, I can't speak for the building department, but I talk to them frequently, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
pretty accommodating to everyone that comes in. In terms of health stuff, they would also have to probably go through Board of Health for whoever comes.
But I've found them to be pretty good lately.
Yeah.
It's not the same building department that it was a decade ago that would look for every reason in the book to
Yeah, I
run you
mean,
through a hard time.
they, Jim Crowley and all of them over there, they do a great job.
Yeah, Jim does a good job.
And they've been doing online permitting now for at least 4 or 5 years, and that's kind of really made the process between just, getting department comments, a lot faster.
Yeah.
And so it's been helpful.
And Gilmore's,
Gilmore's is
Decision.
interesting, so I believe that they've already been through the process with the zoning board for their comprehensive permit and the conservation commission, as well. Last I talked to them, they're probably, we're maybe looking at fall of 25. And that's just, Summer Street kept on pushing back,
Right.
and I felt like they kept on telling me next week, and that was 2 years ago. So, yeah, they, right now, anticipated, beginning maybe of fall of 25.
Is that like shovel in the ground in fall of 25, or is that like,
Like demo and department meetings and stuff of that nature.
Is that a 40B?
Technically, yeah, it's, so it's done, it's called a,
100%.
yeah, it's,
Friendly, whatever. right?
yeah, it's a friendly 40B, it's a local initiative program, so the town worked with them in terms of the, in terms of the unit count, in terms of certain elements like that, but,
There's no commercial involved with it, right?
there is no commercial involved with that. There is, public accessibility in terms of the site itself, and I believe last time we went over site plan, I mean, there was a publicly accessible portion within the building in terms of just like, meeting space,
Oh, yeah.
but no commercial element to the building.
And is Old Town Hall still stagnant?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since town meeting, and they tried to sell it, but since then, I haven't
How
heard.
much were they trying to sell it for?
Oh, they,
3 million, 4 million.
no, that, I think when we met with them, it was estimated around 8 million in terms of repairs, I might be getting that number.
Well, that was the net, basically.
The net, yeah. There was some work that could have been done as like I think it's like an historical tax credit or something of that nature, but, I haven't heard anything in terms of movement on that.
And they're still trying to sell it with the caveat that it can't be changed or torn down, right?
Right now, if they were, so the vote to sell it failed, so right now it would be, if anything, it'd be a long-term lease. Or they could bring it back in 2 years and try to sell it again. I'm not sure of the statute on that,
What
but,
is the base floor, like say if you walked in from the street
yeah.
and then you're on the base floor, is that like wide open?
Not anymore.
It's all boxed
From
in
Main
still?
Street or from the fire department?
From
Main
Main
Street.
Street, it's all
Street.
boxed up, I mean, it's separated in different.
But it's all
offices.
fake, cause it used to be wide open. So
Yes.
the partitions could come down, and then you'd see what that building was 100 years
On
ago.
that
I
first
believe
floor?
that's the second floor.
Yeah, the
Because
second
it's-
I'm not
floor.
talking about the basement, I'm talking about the
No.
first floor.
I
So
think that
there's-
was always broken up.
There's the basement floor, which was, I think, the holding cells for the
Right.
police
Right.
station. The first floor was office space. I think it's the second floor where they made that into office space where it used to be opened up.
Oh, from what
And
I,
then it
that
was
might
open
be
into
true,
the next floor up,
Yeah,
where they used to have a courtroom up there.
but it was all open back when it was built. I thought from the first floor all the way to the third floor was essentially a theater of some sort, or a function place, right?
That was the second into the third.
Second into the
Second
third.
and the third. Yeah, because that stairwell, when you go into it, there's a really ornate
Yeah.
stairwell that's been there, since the building was made.
Forever.
So there was the intention of going up to the second floor. I think that was what was opened up to the
Right.
third floor.
Right.
Is there anyone in there now? Cause I heard a rumor that.
Health department's been using it
Okay,
for,
so it's still town folks,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
What
And I
did they
think
use
it
it for? Meetings?
No, the,
Experiments.
Storage?
no, no,
Asbestos test.
Asbestos, yeah.
flu shots, clinic.
Really?
Yeah, 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 so
Okay.
that's like.
I didn't know that.
Um,
Yeah.
and I believe emergency services is there as well too.
Well, their antennas are. Did you ever go all the way up?
I've gone all the
They're
way
up
up
on the
once,
tower?
yeah.
Did
Mm.
you ever go up to that tower?
It's all the way up to the top, not into that, I've gone up to the third floor and I know there's like, was that shooting range or something, or?
Yeah, it used to be.
Yeah,
It's an interesting building.
yeah.
Sounds like it.
I feel like every town has a story of their town hall also being the shooting range. Norwood had the same issue.
I've never heard that, that's insane.
I was watching some movie and I was envisioning that being open, if it was open, if you walked into whatever the main floor is from the street, right?
Right.
And if that was just open and you could look up, because there's other, I'm gonna guess, like rails up there,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That'd be a great place for like a modern type of art exhibit or something, or even the Walpole Historical Society could have a week or something in there, and the public can walk through and check things out.
I sat on the committee when they were trying to figure out what to do with that years ago, 5, 6 years ago now. And one of the big holdbacks from restoring it to what it used to be is, believe it or not, the elevator shaft in the back is right in the middle of where everything would be.
Mm.
And it's just not worth moving it for some reason.
And in the old days, they just walked up the stairs and, no, I'm not just.
You're mean.
no, that's-
First of
no,
all, you're
that's-
sitting on your porch with your shotgun, waiting, hoping the guy from the prison walks through your yard. And now you're saying, if you can't climb stairs, you can't come here.
That's not what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna go to the select board,
I'm
I'm gonna
saying in
tell
the
them,
old
we gotta
days-
rethink this guy.
I mean, I'm not sworn in yet. In the old days, for the people to get up there and do whatever they assume they walked, there was no elevator, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying you can't get away with that now, but it'd be great if they could just core that thing back out to the
To
old
what it was,
standard.
yeah, I agree with
And then
that.
have just people enjoy it for that part, even if you're not going up to the second or third floor, whatever that is.
No, Rich Pila had a great plan that he spent a lot of time putting together
I
for
know.
that, and they were, you know, it was moving the elevator shaft, adding an annex to the side where the elevator shaft could go,
Yeah.
and, they weren't interested in it. I don't know why,
Hmm.
but, anyway,
Alright,
Okay.
That,
so,
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstained?